Hey, here's another one for you. I thought it was last night. Dolphin, right? Dolphin.
Yep.
Why don't they just spell it with the F? Dolphin. It's got a fin on it. What's the problem?
Give the Drummer Some is sponsored by Supernova Drum Company. Bespoke drums made with unique shell combinations using many different species of wood. Supernova Drum Company. Truly custom drums. Visit supernovadrums.com and facebook.com/supernovadrumco for more details.
There is an inexorable force in the cosmos where time and space converge. A place beyond man's vision, but not his reach. It is the most mysterious and awesome point in the universe.
Unbearable suspense and sadistic terror grip the senses as these human transplants threaten the safety of a city.
Flying saucers have invaded our planet. Washington, London, Paris, Moscow are key targets. The whole world is under attack. Hold on to your chairs, folks, for here they are.
Give the drummer some.
Take that crazy rhythm.
It's nice to see you back in the old groove again, Daddy.
14 mounted toms, 8 floor toms, 4 splashes, 2 gongs, 10 cowbells, 4 rides, 5 snares, man. A roto-tom rack. And it's all mounted on my infamous quadruple kick drum system.
Hey! Did you touch my drum set? Hey, knock it off!
Good evening, friend.
Greetings and welcome to Give the Drummer Some, a podcast where we talk to well-known drummers and industry names and asking them all about their other interests away from the drums. We all know them as the masters of keeping time, but what really makes them tick? Joining us today is a man very close to me. In fact, too close to me. Will you get off? Go on, move over there.
Alright, I'm going.
Yeah, that's better. It's Quince Neal. So what's new in the world of you, Quince?
Led Zeppelin.
Really, Quince?
Indeed. Did you know that John Paul Jones did the orchestral arrangements for a few songs on R.E.M's Automatic for the People?
Did he?
He did, yes.
Ah, very interesting, Quince. Well, what a rhythm section, though, eh? Led Zeppelin.
That was a great, solid, just absolutely solid.
And what's your favourite Led Zeppelin track, then?
Kashmir.
Very nice, very nice.
Yourself?
Mine would be Immigrant Song.
Really?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's just a rocking, solid groove, and I'm, a bit more of a metaler, so it's nice and heavy.
Well, they've done some very good songs, so...
They have indeed. So there we go. So, folks, check out some Led Zeppelin if you haven't. What are you thinking? But, yeah, it's quite apt, really, because today's guest drummer is into Led Zeppelin a lot. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Over time, as the word on this podcast gets out, we'll be asking you to tell us what drummers you want us to have a conversation with and what question you would like us to ask them. To do that, simply follow us at facebook.com/GTDSpod and on twitter.com/GTDSpod. And hopefully we'll pick out your questions to be answered. You can also check out our main website at gtdspod.com for more information on us and, of course, on this podcast. So, shall we start? Mr. Announcer, please announce the guest drummer for today.
Today's guest drummer is best known for his work with Billy Idol and most recently Whitesnake. He has also played the drums for Ozzy Osbourne, Pride and Glory, Glenn Hughes, Slash's Snake Pit, Sash Jordan, and Foreigner. He's also a guitarist, vocalist, and songwriter who is currently playing guitar in his own band, S.U.N, Something Unto Nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Tichy. Brian is endorsed by Natal Drums, Peisty Cymbals, Regal Tipsticks, Remo Drumheads, and LP Percussion.
Thank you, Brian, for joining us on Give the Drummer Some. When did you start, what did you start playing first? Was it the drums or the guitar?
I played drums first and played a little bit of guitar. My dad showed me a couple things soon after, but I got into guitar probably like 7th, 8th grade, junior high school, and got really into it. But I've always been more of a natural drummer who loves guitar.
Cool.
Right.
Who are your main influences?
On drums
and guitar, yeah.
Well, I just recently, as far as drums go, it just got turned on to this band. I think the singer's name is Led Zeppelin, I think, and they have this drummer, something John Benham, something Benham,
something like that. I've heard of the name.
Yeah, I think he has a side project called like Double Live Gonzo or something. I don't know, but I really got into this Led Zeppelin guy and his music, so they're one of my favorite bands now. Now, John Bonham, there you go, number one. Neil Peart, Alex Van Halen, those are the biggies, and Tommy Aldridge and Simon Phillips and Terry Bozzio and David Garibaldi and Clyde Stubblefield and Tony Williams and Vinny Appice and Carmine and Michael DeRozier and Peter Criss and Nico McBrain and I could go on forever, and Thomas Hawk from Meshuggah, I love, and Vinnie Paul. And Elvin Jones, and, you know what I mean? So and the dude from War, who's ever on that like live midnight special stuff, and Joey Kramer, on and on and on, and Stuart Copeland and Keith Moon, and John Densmore, and you know what I mean. So I just say they're all awesome. Are you kidding me? So, but my favorites, Bonham Peart. Alex Van Halen probably, and then probably Terry Bozzio up there and Clyde Stubblefield. But guitars, Jimmy Page, Eddie Van Halen, and Richie Blackmore, and Ace Frehley, and Ted Nugent, and Joe Walsh. There you go. Yeah, Dimebag, Jakey Lee, Randy Rhoads, the guy, my bosses, Slash and Zach Wilde. They're all of them. There's So I pretty much the any top 20 or 30 list. I'm pretty much that general list. I'm a fan of pretty much all the same as all the other guys. Yeah.
What are your favorite rock grooves?
Rock grooves. The groove from the groove from My Sharona, one of the best of all time. The groove from Barracuda, one of the best of all time. Tom Sawyer, When the Levee Breaks, Kashmir. Give It Up or Turn It Loose off In the Jungle Groove. I can go on and on and on. Larger Than Life, Side 4 from Kiss, Kiss Life 2 with Peter Criss on drums. That's awesome. Rip It Out, Ace Frehley. Any Meshuggah song, any Gojira song, any Pantera song. Bill Ward. Let's see, Bill Ward. What's my Supernaut? Little Bill Ward Supernaut. Best grooves. There's so many. I mean,
there's a few.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it goes on and on.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's a good. Limelight. This is the groove from Limelight. Nobody talks about the groove from Limelight. Go listen to Limelight. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
You also teach as well. Is that something you'd really enjoy?
It's cool. Oh, I can't forget Bobby Schnard with Billy Squier in the Dark. Oh my God! Or Lonely as the Night. Or what is it? David Robinson with the Cars. That first record. Jeez, so awesome. It's just amazing stuff. You can't forget Sib Haitian from Boston. You can't. Roger Taylor with Queen. Dragon Attack. That's like a Dragon Attack. Can't tell you how many times. Over the Mountain, Lee Kerslake. Can't tell you how many times. Listen, Where Eagles Dare, Nico, Clive Burr. Oh my God, The Prisoner. Come on, Think of. Imagine if you didn't play Run to the Hills like he plays it. Like if you didn't do the hi hats and go down to the hills and then go run for your life and then went. If you didn't do that stuff, you'd be like you have to be fired immediately.
Yeah.
So. Oh, Phil Rudd. It's just all Phil Rudd. Phil Rudd, my favorite Phil Rudd in the world would probably be If You Want Blood, You Got It, the live record. It's so great. I mean, so awesome. What was the other question? Sorry.
That's okay. You also teach. Is that something you really enjoy doing?
Oh yeah. I just was home more, and I didn't know I was going to be gone. Doing the Queensryche stuff, and I was like, I had taught when people asked. I have taught over the years a bunch, but just not recently that much. And I was like, well, I'm home, and I have a studio, and so it was more like an all-in-one thing. Like I'm home, and I'm doing this and that, but I have I'm not. There's no big plans in the near future to lock into something long term right now. You know what I mean? So it was like, well, why don't I just see what happens, and then it actually worked out better than I thought because of Skype. You can teach. I've done a drum lesson to somebody in Australia, and somebody in Canada, in the UK. It's like it's really cool. Just do Skype lessons. Guitar. I've done guitar with a dude in Jersey. So it's great. It's not 100% perfect, but and what? Yeah. So I'm cool with it. I didn't know how long I'd do it and how much it would be, like how many lessons per week or whatever, but I fit it in when I can, and if people get off on it and I have no problem. Teaching goes fast, and if you're sitting there working on a pad on hand technique, I'm getting better, and it's just helping me too. And I'm pretty quick with watching people's technique. I could pretty much, like in a few seconds, see what's going on, and you just go to the basics and you go, here's kind of what you're I can kind of detect things quickly and then get right in on the a few key things to work on to get over some humps. And usually people are happy rather than just giving them a list of, hey, work on this and this and this. Here's independent exercises, and work on a double stroke, and it's like, work on this polyrhythm. It's like, no, man, why is there double? Why is this not sounding fluid? Or why is it dominant? Why is the right hand so dominant over the left? Why is you didn't work on your left foot independence with your hi hat? Like I'm no like insane. Like a technician, like some of these insane drummers out now. Whether it's a Thomas Lang, Marco Miniman, and Jojo Meyer, I love all those guys are insane drummers. I'm just saying there are basics. There are basics like to 4/8 coordination and independence that once you grab a hold of the basics, it really can get you to the next level quickly. And just some of your basic rudiments, the basics like. So it's funny, a lot of people just pass up some of the basics. They go, oh, I never really got into that side of things. I'm like, yeah, but once you balance your body out just a little bit and allow your left hand and your left side to work a little bit more if you're righty, you're just everything's just gonna get stronger. The main thing is the groove. If it's gonna help your groove, it was just like, can you go like, okay, you got a double stroke, but can you go nice and slow and nice and even, and make it sound nice and fluid,
sure.
And then to me, it's some basics like that people overlook. It's like, but it's stick control, it's hand control, it's finger control, it's body control, it's four limb control, balance. So I dig it.
Cool. Well, the first time I heard you playing was with Pride and Glory. Could you tell us about your time with the band?
Yeah, it was great. It was, Zach, James, and I had known Zach for a few years, and he just said, you want to do this, and we just got together and jammed and rehearsed a bunch and learned all this music and recorded a bunch of music and toured the next year. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was like, man, it was literally, almost 20 years ago in Seattle we recorded the record, like the fall of '93. Then we toured all '94. It was great though. It was I was a fan of Zach already. I didn't know James. James Lomenzo and I are real good friends. He's actually, I'm going to see him today. We have some cover gigs we do together. We all have fun. There's a whole circle of us that play together here and there, whenever we're available. And so James became one of my best friends, and I played with Zach at the Marshall 50th anniversary in September. And it was great to play with him because it had been a long time. But, man, Pride and Glory was a lot of fun. We were just like, I was just jumping into Zach's world. And the great thing was he said, play how you play and let's be what we are. And we had whatever was going on in music then, whether it be Nirvana or the Black Crowes or Pantera or whatever, Soundgarden or Danzig or whatever. He didn't care. So it made me be able to, just do whatever I wanted for the band, so it was a lot of fun. It was my first time going to Europe, and playing Donington, opening up Donington in '94 with Aerosmith and Pantera was insane. was
Yeah.
insane, and so I owe those experiences to Zach, thinking that I could be the guy in the band, and some people still really like that record and the production of it, because we really did go for a real live record. I think Zach said something about thinking there was a click track or something, and I was like, dude, I don't think we did clicks on this record at all. We were sitting in a room together, and I would go like, and he'd play, and I'd watch him, and then he'd finish the riff, and I'd go, blah, boom, boom, and I'd come in. And, I was like, I don't think we did clicks, man, because I don't remember ever talking about it, and we didn't rehearse. It was like we weren't that kind of band. So, it was, so it really was what we were, it was cool. And I had a lot of fun doing it.
Cool. Great. Well, going back to Donington, my first gig was when Metallica headlined, and you played with Slash's Snake Pit.
Yeah, the next year, '95, Lars had come to a Slash gig, and I'm backstage. He said, he goes, I remember he just asked, you want to play Donington with us? And it was like, wow, I'm going back again. Awesome. It was awesome. I mean, that was like, yeah, it was awesome. '95, playing with was Slayer there too then? I think
Slayer and Skid Row were there as well. And...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was that's awesome, man. There's a lot of pressure going on. At least for me, I'm like, I know we're playing this big festival. There's a lot of great bands, so you really want to kick ass up there and hold your own. And some of your idols are there, and whether it be Joey Kramer and Steven Tyler one year, or the Metallica guys, and it's just like I love playing those shows. I love whether it's a festival or like a package tour. It's just it's great camaraderie, and it's great for like friendly competition. Everybody wants to kick ass, and you have to rise up every day.
Sure. Cool. Well, what was it like working with Slash?
It was awesome. Awesome. I was already a total GNR fan. Appetite is a great record. It's just one of the. It's a great record all the way around. It's great, and I was already a fan. So he had jammed with Pride and Glory. I think we played Gibson. What was it? Gibson. I think Gibson's 50th anniversary at Wembley in 1994, and Slash came up and played with us, and I was like psyched. I was like, man, I'm going to play with Slash and Zach together, and we did a couple songs together. Or he came up and did Voodoo Child with us, and then after Pride and Glory ended, because Zach was kind of going back to Ozzy or whatever was going on, then they had similar management. So Slash's manager called me and said, "You want to do the Slash thing?" Because Matt Sorum did the record, but he's not going on tour. So I went down and jammed with Slash, and there you go, and it worked out. But and then they need a bass player. It's like, well, Lomenzo's home too, so Lomenzo got in. So it's me and Lomenzo and Gilby and Slash and Eric Dover, and I'm buds with all of them. I just played with Gilby at a MS benefit at the whiskey like a month ago.
All right.
And I play with Eric Dover here and there. Every night we end up crossing paths, and we played in this cover band for years on and off in Hollywood called the Stars, and that Gilby I think had started with Slim Jim Phantom and Tracy Guns and stuff that back in like the mid-late '90s or something. But yeah, I love playing with Slash. I love his playing. I love that how much he sounds like him. I really do. I really. He's like as much as he and Yngwie aren't the same, they're equal inspirations to me for the same reasons, even though they're different players, because of the passion and the sound that they sound like. I don't like because somebody go, Yngwie, all he does is he does this sweet pick and speed pick, and I'm like, really, dude? Have you ever listened to the dude hit a note? It's the best vibrato in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's none better. You could go ahead, ask anybody. It's insane. It's just the best. Somebody had to have the best vibrato, so Yngwie got it. And then you have Slash, who's just got this sound in his fingers, in his hands, it's in his arms. That sounds like him. I love his sense of rhythm and groove. I love it. Yeah, so all I know is working with him was awesome. And then I, because of that, many years later, I filled in for Matt Sorum and Velvet Revolver, and I got to do a few weeks with those guys and play with Slash again. And Slash is on a Derek Sherinian cover version of In the Summertime with Billy Idol, and we got Slash, and I got to record him and edit his solos together, and he just came in and started knocking out a bunch of ideas, and it was great, just hanging with him in the studio and doing that kind of thing. So I always hope by hope I play with him again down the road. You know, I really enjoy his spirit, and how much he really believes in what he does and how much he loves music. I mean, that's the main thing. You know, all the image and the GNR and the party, all that stuff. That's all cool. It's all like legendary rock star stuff. But whatever about that stuff, if he didn't have the goods and the sounds that were inspiring. You know?
Cool. How did you get the gig with Ozzy? And have you got any good Ozzy stories?
Probably a couple little things, but it was a quick summer. It was insane. It was a highlight for me to play with Ozzy, to be his drummer on an Ozfest was awesome. And playing after my favorite metal band, Pantera, was insane. I'd warm up to the side of the stage watching Pantera. That's insane, you know. And Godsmack, that's where I got to be buds with Tommy Stewart, who plays drums in S.U.N. when we have a drummer and when we're playing as a band. Yeah, it was a great, Tommy Lee was out then, Disturbed got started then, Static X, it was awesome. Cool. Queens of the Stone Age were on. Yeah, it was great. I just heard he was looking for a drummer in 2000, and I just known too many people in the camp. I just started calling everybody, going, hey, I want a shot. That's all, I just want to come down and play. And I went down, and it worked out. But I was like, I just want to keep my mouth shut and play really good, but the set was super familiar. I was barely having to learn songs because I knew them all, so it was more just locking it with the guys. But Ozzy was cool. He was totally cool. I just didn't, when I'm in situations like that with a guy like Ozzy, I'm not just walking in all comfy, cozy, this is my gig and I'm chilling with you and we're all buds. I'm just not like that. I know some people are. I'm more, I just want to get my job done and know that everybody's happy with me, and then I might be able to open up. But with Ozzy, it wasn't like we were on a tour bus together. It wasn't like we were every day sitting around hanging out, making a record. Mm-hmm. It was he'd show up at rehearsal, he'd split, he'd show up, we'd hang out. He was, I saw him enough, he was totally cool. I'm just saying that it wasn't like back in the day where he's partying and all that stuff or whatever. Yeah. So it wasn't like I have those crazy stories. But he's a true character, and he is what he is. He's really fun to be around, and to be on stage with him, just playing War Pigs and Crazy Train, that was heavy duty. That was a total highlight. But cool. I don't know. One night he shot me with he had he used to get the fire hose going, and he came around during the Crazy Train guitar solo. Yeah, this is actually a really good story. I'm playing Crazy Train. It goes to the guitar solo. He comes over to the drum riser and just blasts me the entire solo with the fire hose water. So it's it's not just a hose. It's a fire hose, which means it's meant to put out fires. So I'm getting hit pretty hard with this. I would wear gloves. It was the summer because it's just it would be sweating so much. It was just swinging hard and all that. So I just held on for dear life to the sticks, put my head down, and mics were busted, shorted out, and it was a big water mess behind the kit. So I'm going, Ozzy hates me. I'm he just doesn't like me. He doesn't like me, and I'm just this sucks. I'm gonna get fired. I don't really know what I did, but whatever it is, it's just not working out for me here. I'm probably gonna be let go. Maybe some other drummer's coming in, tonight or something. So at the end of the show, I go backstage. I'm just kind of just thinking that's what's going to happen. I'm thinking he probably just doesn't dig me, and he walks up and he goes, we all right with the water spraying all over you and something like that. And I go, excuse me, what? And he goes, was that all right with the water? Was that a bother or something like that? And I go, Ozzy, you could do that every night if you want. I don't care. He goes, all right. And he just walked away. I was like, wow, because I just kind of think, he just probably looked at me and said, I'm just going to nail him with the fire hose, for a while. And, so it wasn't as bad as I thought. And it was, it was just a lot of fun to play with him.
Cool. What advice would you give to drummers wanting to turn pro?
Oh, well, don't bother doing it unless you're a lifer. Don't bother even trying about it unless you really. I only know what I know. I know, and I figure like Zach and Slash and guys I've played with, or Dimebag or Joe Holmes or Trujillo. These are guys that I assume we all think the same. When we picked up our instruments, there was no stopping us. There was no there was no alternative. There wasn't like, if this doesn't work out, I'm going to do this, because I never thought that way. And I can't imagine. I know Zach has picked up a guitar and he never stopped, and he's never going to stop. So it's the same with Slash. These, it's just, they live with the guitar. They pick it up. They're constantly playing because that's what they were put here to do, and that's what they love to do, and that's what I love to do. So unless you feel that way, it's useless. Just don't even bother. I want to say, hey, if you have fun doing something, cool. But if you think it's going to be like, whatever you look at and you think success is, and just because you think it's cool to be in a band or something, or you learned a couple whatever songs, and it's work. I don't know. For me, it's a lot of work, but it's like, but I love doing it. So it's kind of like not work. I just know that I'm putting time into something that I would that I never thought, I've never looked back, like I don't know. I started playing drums. I just didn't stop. Started playing guitar, and all I thought about was how much better I want to get and how much further I want to get. So cool. That's my mindset, and if you think like any less than that, then maybe you have some extra luck than me, and maybe you will, I don't know, maybe you'll write a hit song and, whatever, maybe. Sure. But I'm just saying it's going to be, from what I know and what I feel, if you can replace what the music or what, if you can replace it in your head with something else and be happy, then I don't know why, I don't know, I would, I don't know that feeling. I don't know what that's like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Can you tell us about your band, S.U.N?
I was writing a bunch of music with Sass, the singer, and I had this acoustic stuff for years, and I had showed it to her. I was like, we had a couple acoustic things on the record, but I was like, this is kind of, it's long-winded and it gets heavy, and it's what do you think? And wait, I don't know if this guitar's in tune. It's like. Like that kind of thing, right? And I'm like, right, I got that thing, and then I got like, it's got a Battle of Evermore a little bit thing going on with it. It's got all that stuff. Then it goes, whatever. It's got this, and then it's blah 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 blah. But I'm like, somewhere in there, I want to go, and get it like rocking out a little more. Yeah. And she's like, oh, that all sounds cool. I go, well, let's make it like some epic. I know it's gonna be long. It's gonna be like a long song, so let's make it let's go for it. Just throw everything in there. And she's like, okay. We start talking about the lyrics, and I think I basically said, just write about everything under the sun. Write about everything under the sun. She's like, all right, cool. And I'm like, I don't know, blah 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 blah. And then we were just I probably said, let's just call it S.U.N. And then we started back and forthing it, and somewhere in there we were like, let's make it an acronym. So it's not just S.U.N. Let's make an acronym, something unto nothing. After the song was kind of finished, that's where we realized we had written pretty much nearly a record, and realized that this really should be this is definitely a band. It's not like songs for her next solo record or whatever. It's not like a songwriter's, session. We're writing. It sounds like a band here. What's going on? And it's exciting. So we're like, let's call the whole thing that. This makes sense. Something under nothing. It's a little bit vast, a little bit wide. The term. It's like, well, what are you saying? It's like, I don't know. Maybe you can interpret it how you want. So it made sense. It was nice. Just like Black Sabbath and Maiden, we have a song on our first record named after the band.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. How's it going with the band?
How's the band going? Everything's cool. It's like there's good things about to happen. It's just right. It's an uphill battle. It's a new band. It's a like most things these days. It's not a major, huge label with tons of money behind you. Everything's like it's new, and you take what you've acquired and earned and learned and achieved throughout your years of doing this, and you hopefully put it together, and it can take you somewhere. Cool. It's just the combination of what we've done. I mean, Sass is in her own right, just she's been Sass Jordan her whole life. Meaning, she puts out records as Sass Jordan. She tours as Sass Jordan. That's what she did. The past bunch of years, she was more like she was on Canadian Idol as a judge for 6 years. She was home. She was, raising her daughter. More like not going for it as much as when she was like living in L.A. back in the 90s and stuff. but we had reconnected and talked and started writing and all that stuff. But you take what she's done and whatever I've done, and then you hopefully, like, it's it's the whole name game thing to a certain extent. It's not like we're not like some super group by any stretch. That's like you leave that term for audio slaves and chicken foots and stuff like that. Like where all these multi-platinum artists get together and they guaranteed, regardless of how good or bad it is, they're going to have a lot of interest and probably have great sales and turnouts at shows in the beginning. Because of the nature of the people getting together. But with us, it's a little bit of a smaller bag of potatoes there, but I like it. I want to play guitar and write tunes, and I dig that, and that's something I want to see happen in my life is that side of things, and I'll always be a drummer, and always play drums, as I'm going to be going out with Queensryche this month, and cool. And Sun is that's the update. Sun is, it's a nice little thing. It's nice how it worked out. Sun is opening up our acoustic stomp set as opposed to a full band, and then I'm playing drums, Queensryche, and Sash is singing in the set as well on the Sweet Sister Mary song, and maybe one at the end or something like that. But right now it's Sweet Sister Mary, and we're doing our little acoustic stomp thing, which is me on a guitar and a kick drum and a hi-hat with a tambourine attached. So I keep the time myself, and she sings, and we do our little stompy wompy tunes, stomp versions of our songs, and there you go. So it's great because we get to go out and play in front of a nice chunk of people that otherwise we wouldn't have, and then you finish that up and jump on the drum kit and go and play the Operation Mindcrime in its entirety.
Nice.
So,
and that's the Queensryche without Jeff Tate.
No, this is the Jeff Tate led Queensryche, where the other ones are is Scott Rockenfield on drums. It's him and the two of the other guys from the original band, and there's that. I was aware of the basic drama of the split of the two versions happening and all that stuff, and
it's all gone weird really for them at the moment, isn't it? There's kind of,
it's weird because what's kind of weird is just, I guess in this day and age, you just assume if that's going to happen, it's already been maybe like wrapped up legally from the past. Like somebody's already, the band's already agreed who owns what. Just, I don't know. I'm not saying, I'm just, you would just think when you've been around for decades and you put out this many records, somewhere in there you'd all get together and say, hey man, if somebody decides to quit or somebody's not pulling their weight or let's make arrangements so we don't, one guy can't kind of, control the situation in a way, I mean, like for example, I guess, you have Guns N' Roses. It's Guns N' Roses. You're buying a ticket, you're seeing Guns N' Roses. Sure. But I mean, I guess, Dizzy Reed has been in Guns N' Roses probably longer than anybody except for Axl. But, really the core of GNR was Appetite, and then you add a couple of the guys in, the Sorum and Gilby for the Use Your Illusion stuff. But really that was kind of the core. Now it's most of that, that's not happening anymore, but it's still Guns N' Roses. So that's because it's Axl's name. He's got the name, so do whatever he wants. You would just, that's been going on for a long time. So I guess you would think with other real well-known bands, they would have similar arrangements where, somebody either power played it and took over the name, or the band agreed to split it up a certain way. I don't know. To avoid this kind of hassle, because I guess although on one side of it we all sit, like if I had nothing to do with the band at all, I'd just be on the outside reading the updates on online about this band split up and now there's two of them on tour and there's a legal thing, and that I'd just be like on the outside going, oh, that's interesting, kind of like what LA Guns and Great White, and there's a few of these examples. So it's like, I'm just, I don't know. I would just be like, okay, there you go. But I guess it creates added press, whether it's positive or negative, doesn't matter. It's just like creates awareness, man. There's two big, Queensryche's on tour, Queensryche's on tour, Queensryche's on tour, Queensryche's on tour. You know what I mean? That's not
Gets
bad.
Him talking.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Jeff Tate sort of asking fans to sort of tell him how bad they think the album is was probably a good idea, but I suppose it's getting people talking about it, I suppose. So.
Yeah, I see that. Like, I'm definitely, I haven't even done a show yet. I'm happy to fill in for Simon Wright. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. It's a challenge, and I want to pay total respect to what that band achieved for decades. You know, I was the kid in high school that heard The Lady Wore Black and Queen of the Reich, and when Take Hold of the Flame came out, I thought that was great. So I'm this is like I know the music. I'm totally familiar with the tunes and all that stuff. So I want to go and do my job, which is my job is to come in there and make hopefully make the band kick as much ass as it can and do just do a good job and be respectful to the music, the entire just the whole everything that Queensryche is, as well as Scott Rockenfield's drumming. It's great stuff. I mean, it's great. And he made his mark, and I have insane respect for anybody that took advantage of the opportunity of being an original member of an original band and getting out there and setting standards and owning their own world. I think it's amazing to be, you're the guy who made those drum parts up. You're the guy that did it every night. You're the one who said, I'm going to do this and that, and then live I'm going to change it up a little bit here. I'm going to stick to that. It's a lot to retain as a fill-in drummer, or as a fan of the music you start getting into. You go, yeah, okay, I can play it, like I can get the job done, but man, this is his life that he created behind this kit of drums in this band. I'm just like trying to make it sound good when I'm in there, and I don't want to stray away from what it is too much. But I get excited how I get excited when I play the drums. I try to, I know how maybe the hi-hat should be played and the cymbal and the fill, this and that, and approach the big picture, but that's not my style, meaning I'm going to emulate his style compared to if I was playing in, like Whitesnake. I'm not going to play it the same way as I would approach playing a Queensryche. It's still loud rock drums, but I want to give that style of drums the respect that it deserves. But so with all that said, I really don't care too much about what's going on, because it has nothing to do with me.
Sure.
And I'm never going to voice my opinion to anybody in that camp about what I think. Is just I'm going to do my job for a month, and hopefully everybody's happy with that, and that's the most important thing. But on the side of, as an outsider, seeing if Jeff wants to put out a thing about, hey, people try things. It's like, man, people try to do things, and not everything is going to be as successful as the last thing you did. It's just, sure. But man, if you're going to be trying to duplicate yourself, I mean, in some ways, I want AC/DC to put out an AC/DC record every year or two. I want to hear Highway to Hell style and Let There Be Rock style stuff. I want, and I just named Bon Scott stuff, but or Back in Black and For That's About the Rock stuff. Or Thunderstruck. I want to hear that stuff from AC/DC, because that's the kind of band. But then hey, you got to you take chances. You go for things, and if he has an idea, you go for it. Who knows? It's all attention getting stuff. And the funny thing is, because I'm in doing this Queensryche stuff now, it's like you can't help but notice a little bit more what's going on with them, because you're involved. You're playing with them. So, but there's the people that are taking the time to bash the record online. It's like, okay, they're obviously fans, meaning they're passionate about Queensryche. They must have at some point in time really enjoyed everything that Queensryche was, and now maybe they don't like something as much as they used to. I mean, okay, so they post, but man, you better be prepared. If you're going to get online and start talking like that, you better be prepared to either come across a certain way. I mean, if you're not presenting your opinions on what you think in some kind of way that doesn't make you look a little bit silly online, you're risking making the whole thing seem even sillier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I'd like to see them do as good as well. I mean, a lot of them, I'm sure they can't even play any instruments at all. So
yeah, I mean, come on, it's like one of the best songwriters of all time, like Paul McCartney. Okay, a complete legend. One of the just best on the planet. Like it's like, but it's like he's written some of my favorite music ever, but it's not like he wrote another, Yesterday or Hey Jude or Let It Be last year, but we have an insane amount of amazing music from this person that's timeless and it's never going to end. It's going to go on forever. But, who's to say that somebody who has huge success for whether it's one hit wonder or 20 years or 40 years or whatever, who's to say that because you had this talent and you honed in on it and you wrote some stuff that basically affected the whole world, who's to say that gift or whatever you want to call it is supposed to last your whole life? Like every year I'm supposed to write the next #1 song. Like who's to say just because Queensryche put out some records that people feel are the best, that's supposed to go on forever and ever and ever and ever. You know what I mean?
True.
That's what makes it exciting. This whole business, it's like it's not easy. You don't just like, you don't just like what do you call it? What do you start your job? What do you do that when you put your card in? You log in. What do you call that when you go to your job and you check in? You
punch the clock.
Yeah,
you clock in.
Yeah.
You don't just like clock in. You don't. Let's call it rock in. You don't just rock in to rock and roll and go, hey, I'm at my job. I'm gonna earn my paycheck and write a #1 hit. I'm gonna write another concept record that's going to sell millions. It just doesn't work that way, man. Life goes on and things change and maybe one year you'll do more of this and the next year do more of that. It's kind of funny to get so mad about that stuff where people get online and start complaining. It's like, man, he's considered one of the most legendary metal singers going. Like he's basically the people that don't dig whatever it is now, they still agree that he is, and who's, man, I don't know, who's to say that a guy in anybody, like this isn't just Queensryche stuff or anything, this is just anybody, man, who's to say that there are some freaks on this planet. There are those like Steven Tylers and Stevie Wonders and Buddy Riches, these guys that you're just like, it doesn't matter where they are and what they're doing, they're pretty much, they're always what they always were. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I saw James Brown a couple times, like in the 90s, and I love James Brown. I love him, and he wasn't doing the power screams every 8 bars, for holding it for 10 seconds a piece, like he was in the 60s or the 70s. You know what I mean? It's like he still was James. He was still killing it, but he was an older guy, and he gave it to you, and it was still great. But, man, life goes on.
Sure.
You can't who's exactly the same at 50 as they were at 20? Who is?
True.
So it's just funny. Who knows? For every move you make, you got to weigh it out. Or is it going to get me? Is it? Am I happy with it? Is it going to get me? If as far as a public thing, is it going to tie into my career and my future and what I'm trying to accomplish here in a positive, negative way? Or is it just going to create me press to create awareness? Because awareness is better than no awareness. So the more we're talking about him, the more. And Queensryche in the current state of all this stuff, the more people are aware of what's going on, regardless if it's good or bad. It's just like you got to be on the map to get people that had to opine about it.
Well, I got to admit, I've been listening a fair bit more to them than I have done in a few years, so I suppose it's done a bit of good.
And there's some great stuff there. It's like I was like, oh, that's right, man. Revolution Calling. What a killer chorus. What a power chorus. And there's just some great stuff in there. There's the best I can. There's like all these songs, Empire, whatever, all on and on. It's like wow, man. These are songs that you just constantly heard for years, and but maybe you didn't really think about it. Now that I'm digging into them a bit, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's great stuff. I'm just. Cool. It's just another thing I'm happy to do, and it's not like I got to call a fill-in for Simon, and it's going to be fun. There you go. Cool.
How hard a decision was it for you to leave Whitesnake?
It wasn't hard as far as, it wasn't like we were in the middle of I had to make a decision with no time to think about it. We did have an entire year, 2012. We weren't on the road, we toured all 11 and the record was out and it was safe to say at the end of 2011 we weren't going to be touring in 2012. So that gives you like a year there's a band, Whitesnake, and they're working on a live DVD and CD and all that stuff. But it's not like, hey guys, get ready to gear up for a U.S. run or some tours or a summer, this and that. It was like, yeah, we're pretty much off for the year. Well, what happens is, I'm. What do you do? I don't know what anybody else does. I know I have to work, and I know I love to work, and and it's work and play are the same. It's like that's
Sure.
the more it's all the same to me. Studio stuff's great, touring's great, being home is great. I need my balance and all that stuff. But so I started pursuing Sass, and I started working on the S.U.N thing more. We got a little deal, and it was really nice to know that our work was going to pay off, at least be validated by having a record out and get some attention and see what we can do with it. Well, then you get excited about it. Then the reviews started being, we got some really great reviews, and I'm really proud of the fact that we made a record that has nothing to do with click tracks and holes in bass drums and auto tune and all this crap that the best records in the world have nothing to do with. Like we went for it that way from the beginning. That was it was just like, why not, man? The people listening to these people that listen to music don't care. Like a non-musician who enjoys music and likes, whether it's Government Mule or John Coltrane or the Chili Peppers or Nickelback, like it doesn't. They're not listening to because they think it's been fixed in a computer or auto-tuned or it's in perfect timing. They don't give a shit. They don't care about a Stones record being on a click track or not.
Sure.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Who cares? And it's funny that so with that mindset, you go, who cares? Just who cares? Why are we making such a big fuss about this in the studio? It wasn't made to be such a fuss before. Perfectly sang notes, like the note has to hit exactly perfect, or else it's going to be something to be considered offensive. Like, man, the best tracks in the world aren't perfect, and that's that. So when you start getting behind that, you want to push it more. They're like, I believe in this. I would love to see this get somewhere. I would love to get this band to a point where, where I could actually sort of survive off of it. It's not an impossibility. It's an impossibility if I say it's an impossibility. If I say it's never going to happen, it's never going to happen unless some big, huge stroke of luck comes and whatever. We write the next My Sharona, and all of a sudden, But it's worth going for. But that doesn't mean I'm sitting back in my mansion here, just chilling out with my new band. It's like I got to work. So it's but. I have to have you have to have confidence. You have to have confidence that if I've done this for this many years, I hope that it's created enough that people can know what they're getting if they hire me, or that I can have some sort of resume that'll help me get more work, because work breeds work. If you do a good job, people talk that you did a good job. So with as far as like the leaving Whitesnake thing, it was more like if I lock in to the year with Whitesnake, that's giving 100% to Whitesnake, and I'm going to give 100%. I can't do anything else. I'm going to be out there pushing 100%. I'm not going to do anything less than that. So, so that's going to eliminate all options of other stuff that I want to do.
Cool.
Or I can kind of sit back, kind of take a step back and go, what if I kind of leave it a little more open and really try and push my band and hopefully get some other work. It's like, it's a roll of the dice. It's like throwing a deck of cards in the air. 52 are going to hit the ground. There's 52 in deck cards, right? It's 54. I can't remember. 50.
Yeah.
It's 50 states. That's right. There's 48. It's 50 states and 52 cards. Yep. But they're all going to hit the ground, but I don't know which ones are going to face up, face down, and which ones are going to create little piles or not. I don't know. It's the same thing, but there are cards in the air. So I got my cards in the air, and we'll see how it falls. I also wrote to David about it, and he replied, and he was nothing but supportive. And I kind of thought, when you're around a guy like that, he's got a really huge charismatic personality, and he was nothing but cool to be around. And you look a little deeper into what's going on. You don't just go because it's easy to go, I'm playing drums in Whitesnake, a lot of great music, Coverdale, one of the best rock vocalists going, legend, and a band that's created such a great body of work. And you can, my favorite drummers, grew up listening to I'm playing in the drum chair that they were in, but if you look at it, you go, wait, there was a time it wasn't this. There was a time David Coverdale was an unknown dude who got the Deep Purple gig and took over, but then said, I'm going to start my own band, even though Deep Purple is pretty much in the top 3 bands of the world. I'm going to start my own and see what happens. And he built it and built it and built it. That takes a special person to be able to go for that. Like it's confidence, it's smarts. You look at this whole thing and you go, I hope some of this rubs off on me. That's what you're hoping. And Dave would be the first person to say, if you ain't going for it, why bother? Why bother? If he wants to write a record, every song he writes, I would assume he's wanting to write, to make his next most awesome song ever. That he's excited about music. He loves playing. He loves performing, and he's a real uplifting person. I could go on, for an hour about how cool he was and is. But so it's not like it was nothing like I don't want to play in Whitesnake. It was more I want to be more like my bosses. You can just phrase it up like that. Sure. I would like to attempt to be more like my bosses, the guys that I look at when I look over at Mick Jones and I go, you wrote Hot Blooded and you wrote I Want to Know What Love Is, and there you are playing it over on the keyboard, bopping away, smiling at your massive #1 worldwide hit. I Want to Love It, and I'm playing it with you, and I'm like, I remember when this came out. And when it hit the chorus, when I was a kid in high school, I was like, this is massive. This is like, you got We're the World, and you got like I Want to Know What Love Is. It's like, this is massive. And I was a 10-year-old kid in 78 when Hot Blooded hit. And on the radio, I tripped out. I was floored. I loved the song. I loved it so. That was my favorite song of the summer of 78, arguably, if I remember correctly. I loved it. I also loved Live Bootleg from Aerosmith then, but I think I just loved Hot Blood. So I look over at this guy and go, I want to be more like Mick Jones. What the heck? He was playing in Leslie West's band. He was in Spooky Tooth. It could have been that. It could have been that's Mick Jones, right?
Yeah.
But he took it to this insane level where you put a Foreigner set list up against any set list in the world, you got to go up to McCartney and Stevie Wonder to rival that set list. It's ridiculous. The songs are insane. So if you let a little of these guys hopefully rub off a bit, Billy Idol, Ozzy, blah blah blah, all this, it's like, come on, man, I want to get a little further in life than just being the drummer that gets hired to play their music. I'd like to so I guess it ties into songwriting. I love playing guitar. I love writing songs. And you're never going to know unless you try. You're never going to know.
Well, under the premise that you have a day off just for yourself, what 2 activities do you do during the day?
I would practice guitar. I would go mountain biking, and I would hit a speed bag, and I would probably try to talk to as few humans as possible. Yeah.
All right. Well, who from any time in history would you invite over for dinner on that day? More than one person is fine.
Salvador Dali and Stravinsky, and Morrison, Bonham, Hendrix, and Randy Rhoads. Why not? That would be interesting.
Cool. In the evening, what TV box set and movie do you watch?
I don't watch TV. I don't really watch. I don't even I'm not really good with movies either. But I did get really into. I did a real quick hit of all the, what is it called? I can't. I think it's Breaking Bad. I think.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah. I had watched one. Somebody said it's amazing. I heard a couple great things, and I was like, hotel room, like a day off, and I was like. Netflix or something, or I think it was on YouTube, and I just started watching. I was like, so that's awesome. That's a killer show. And I started getting into a little of the Sons of Anarchy, but that was like in January, and then I just never went back to it. I watched a chunk of those; they were great. And I maybe when I'm on the road again, I'll start watching this stuff. That's where I can do a little more of that stuff, Sure. Because when I'm home, there's too many other things I'm trying to do.
Sure, I got you. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and it's been great talking to you.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, and I hope if everything you wanted ask you asked. I do. Yeah, I just gotta. Get cruising. I got this rehearsal happening. There's other stuff going on. So
yeah,
but,
not a problem.
Cool. Anytime, man. We can do an update or something down the road for sure.
Lovely.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Cheers, Brian.
And there we go. We're another episode down, and that was great talking to Brian, wasn't it, Neil?
It was great. Really good interview.
Yeah, that was really cool. And I'm going to sound like a little bit of a fanboy here, but back in the day, after Donington, after Slash's Snake Pit played at Donington, I was watching the video, and I thought Brian's kit was really cool. So I paused it, and I tried to set my kit up just like his. And of course I didn't have as many cymbals, because I wasn't endorsed. I'd only been playing 2 years, so I really definitely wasn't endorsed. Yeah. I'm still not now, but anyway. And set my kit up, and there we go. That's making me sound like a real geek and a bit of a fanboy. So anyway, yeah, great episode. Really enjoyed talking to Brian, and there we go. But check out his band. They're called S.U.N. The album is available for download, so get yourself a copy of that. And we are going to finish the show by playing the second track off the album called Crazy Head. So check it out, and play your drums, have fun, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
You got